Today I'll be doing a dynamic review of my 1993 Suzuki Katana 750. It's a nice day to ride. It's still on the chilly side though, at 35 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm just going to record this video during my morning commute to work. Well, this is my third attempt. Third time is the charm. The first two times, the first time the camera was on my helmet and it was just looking down the wrong direction. Okay, we are on the road. My commute is about 10 miles. And then I bought this chest strap for the camera and it was still at the wrong angle. It's a very nice day to ride. I'm trying my new chest strap for my action camera. Hopefully the angle is set well. I hope you are not seeing the sky or just the instrument cluster. Hopefully it's giving a balanced view of the instrument cluster as well as the road ahead. Hopefully today I'll set it to the right angle and be able to complete this video. So the engine is cold and I'm just going to do a cold start now. Full choke. Starts right up. I try to adjust the choke so that the engine is at 2,000-2,500 RPM. So it's not revving high when the oil has not started circulating around. I give it a couple minutes for the engine to warm up before I start riding, because this motorcycle does not like to be cold. It is air and oil cooled engine and it's a cold-blooded engine, and with the choke, riding gets a little tricky because the throttle response is a little twitchy when it's on choke. So I let it warm up, especially on cold days. Okay, I'm turning the choke all the way off. The engine needs to warm up a little more, but I'm going to do it on the road, so this is good enough. So let's get going. I really like commuting on this motorcycle. It's very comfortable. Although my favorite motorcycle is my 2005 Honda CBR 600 F4i, I tend to take the Katana for these commutes. Once the motorcycle warms up, the engine pulls very strongly all the way from the bottom of the RPM range. I consider this motorcycle a sport touring motorcycle more than a sport motorcycle, but I think it's a jack of all trades. So you can easily ride this in the city in stop and go traffic, and take it on highway or take it to your favorite twisties, mountain roads, and be comfortable in all of those situations.
I don't know how Suzuki did it, but they did a great job balancing all those elements
sport and touring elements in one motorcycle, in one package. You will be hard pressed to find another all-round motorcycle like this one that you can enjoy in very different situations. I think that's the reason you can find so many used Katana 700s, even 600s still on the road and being sold on Craigslist or eBay. And they're easy to maintain, relatively easy to maintain. Old style, old school carbureted engines. The Katana 750 came out in Japan in June 1988. It was introduced and came to the United States as a 1989 model. And its engine was based on the 1988 GSX750 engine. I think it's also called the Slingshot engine. And it has been retuned to give more low and mid-range power and make it more rideable in all kinds of situations. So starting from the engine, it is a 748cc 4-cylinder inline-4 engine, dual cams, 16 valves, 4 valve per cylinder. It has 4 Mikuni 36mm flat slide constant velocity CV carburetors. And according to factory specs, it produces 106 horsepower at the crank at 10,500 RPM and 54 pound-feet of torque at 9,500 RPM. There was a test done back in 1989 when it came out by the Motorcyclist magazine on the March 1989 issue, and they tested its performance. It was doing the quarter-mile acceleration in about 11.5 seconds and reaching 114 miles an hour at the end of that quarter-mile stretch. And its measured top speed was 142 miles per hour. That's pretty good for 1980 standards. And the engine is very similar to the engine used in the Katana 600 as well, so that's also based on the 1988 Suzuki GSX750 engine at that time. And then they kept the engine more or less unchanged until the second generation that came out in 1998. So this first generation Katana 750 went from 1989 to 1997. And there were some cosmetic changes, like all the plastics has been changed, the design, and some minor engine changes as well. But I prefer the first generation, this one. Now, starting from the front, the braking. The brakes are good. They are not sport motorcycle standards, but they are adequate for everyday use. I never took this to track, so I don't know how they will fare during constant using on a track. But they're good brakes. I have never been nervous of not being able to stop. So the front and rear brakes, the front brakes are dual disc and rear brake is single disc, and they're both front and back hydraulic discs, hydraulic brakes. And the front brake is adjustable. There are like 4 adjustments depending how long your fingers are, how large your hand is. You can adjust the distance between the handlebar and then brake lever. The application point of the brakes, it is not sudden, it's more gradual, so it makes it easier to modulate for more novice riders. So it also handles well. It is fun to ride in curves, pushing it down during the turns. It is by no means a light motorcycle. Dry, it weighs 461 pounds, which corresponds to 209 kilograms. And when it's wet, from that motorcyclist article, they measured 517 pounds or 235 kilograms. It's not a light motorcycle. It carries its weight high up. It has a large fuel tank. It's 20 liters, 5.3 gallons. So it carries it high. So it makes it kind of top heavy. So when you're riding in stop and go traffic, you have to keep it upright. Especially if you are a shorter and lighter person, you know, if you have one of these, try to keep it upright, because when you stop and then you are not upright, it's going to give you trouble. You know, there will be a lot of weight on one foot of you where the bike is leaning towards. But once it starts going, you don't feel the weight. Unless you are going through some really fast S-curves, you know, quick right, left turns. The handlebars are high and also wide, and they give you a lot of leverage to make the turns. It's a very well balanced motorcycle. And the engine, you know, as long as you keep it above 3000 RPM, it just pulls right through at any gear. So for commute, I usually set it to put it on the 6th gear and just ride it. As long as I'm not going slower than 30-35 miles an hour, I can just commute all day in the 6th gear. My 1996 Suzuki GSX750 was not like that. It was a high revving engine, and it didn't have much power low below, so I had to make a lot of gear changes. And after about half an hour I was done. My neck was sore, my wrists were sore. With Katana, with this one, I can ride it all day long. I can go through one tank of fuel without stopping, and that's about 200 miles. The fuel consumption, depending how you ride it, is, my experience is between 40 to 50 miles per gallon. So with that 5.3 gallon tank, it should give you at least 200 miles of range before you have to stop for gas. The fuel gauge is great, so the gauges are really nice. The speedometer is on the left and the tachometer is on the right. They're big, easy to read, and in the middle Suzuki put the fuel gauge, which is good because some motorcycles don't have the fuel gauge, and this way I can just tell when I have to stop. It's a little on the pessimistic side though, so when there is still like more than a gallon of fuel, it is already in the red. But you know, that in hindsight that gives you probably more options in terms of a gas station, finding a gas station. Probably another 40-50 miles to find a gas station. The seat is very, very comfortable. It is wide and nice and soft. It's one piece, and even the pillion, the passenger seat on the back is comfortable. So this is good for two-up riding. Comfortable for two-up riding. Sometimes I take my older son on my back and he never complained, though he complained on my CBR 600. Another convenience feature is the center stand. So yes, not many motorcycles these days have the center stand. This one has, although with a caveat. So I weigh 160 pounds and I have trouble putting it on center stand on level ground. In the driveway, if I put it all in the incline, the gravity helps me. But putting all my weight on the center stand and pulling on the handlebar on the side, I have trouble putting it on the center stand. I don't have enough weight for this. I may need somebody else's help. And there is nothing to hold on to on the lower back, like a metal bar or something. And I don't want to pull it from the fairing because I'm afraid of breaking it, so it makes it tough to use your strength to also, while you are pushing on the center stand, it gets very difficult to pull the back of the motorcycle up. But once on it, it's a great feature, so it makes servicing the rear end so much easier. You don't have to find a motorcycle stand separate and then to use it, especially for lubricating the chain. It's a breeze. Once you put it on the center stand, it's a breeze. The seat height is listed as 31.1 inches. So it's a little on the high side. With people a little shorter may have trouble reaching the ground on both sides. So I am 5'10", and when I stop I can put the soles of both of my feet on the ground, but barely. Because the seat is a little wide, it opens up my legs a little bit to the side, so I can stand on the sole of my feet, both sides, but barely. So if you are planning to buy one of these and shorter, just make sure to take that into consideration. My hands are getting a little chilly, but it's going to get warmer later today, so I wouldn't miss a day like that, like this one. It's mid-March in Boston, and this weather is a gift. It has been like this in the last couple of days. I've been riding my Katana the last couple of days. Tomorrow we're expecting rain. The suspension, well, it is definitely not a sports suspension, but it's adjustable. So the rebound damping can be adjusted front and back. In my previous video I have shown the lever under the seat that you do the adjustment for the rear suspension, and then in the front on top of the forks you just rotate these dials to to make that adjustment. I usually put it to flush, the soft setting, because there are so many potholes on Boston streets. But it's it makes it very comfortable. The front has 41mm forks, and the rear has the swing arm that's a little longer than the one on the Katana 600. So both Katana 600 and 750 uses basically the same frame. Just this one on 750 has been beefed up a little bit, strengthened, thicker material, but they're almost the same, like the engine. So Suzuki did a great job reusing parts and saving money. When this came out in 1989 in the United States, it was selling for $5,299, which was significantly less, I think $500 less than GSX750, and I think $900 more than Suzuki Katana 600. The power on this one is linear, very linear. You get power in the low RPM, mid-range, as well as high. It doesn't have the mad rush of the sport motorcycles like GSX750 high on top, but it's such a linear delivery like a standard motorcycle, from about 2,000 to 3,000 RPM all the way up to almost red line. The red line on this one is 12,500. You don't have to go there, because you can happily live, if you're accelerating hard, you can happily live between 5 to 10,000 RPM. And did I mention it is very livable? Yes, it is. City riding, stop and go traffic. The clutch application, it's not too soft, but it's not too hard either. It is cable operated, it's not hydraulic. But as long as you keep it lubricated, it is fine. It doesn't give me any cramps on my left hand. The controls are easy to reach everywhere. So my recommendation, if you are looking for a all-around motorcycle to do all kinds of things like twisties, cruising on highway or city riding, consider Katana 750. You won't regret it, and you can find a very clean one probably between $2,000 to $3,000. Nowadays the 750 like GSX-S starts at $8,500. I recommend this to anyone who knows a little bit of motorcycle maintenance, do it yourself type of thing for simple service needs, and doesn't mind doing that from time to time. If you have an idea, then that's a different story. Just buy a new one, take it to the service. But with this one you can save a lot of money and have almost as much fun. And this is all analog, so no electronic controls, so in my opinion it will make you a better motorcycle rider, just being able to control those and modulate everything by yourself without help from all the electronics and electronic controls. So probably it has been 20 minutes and I don't have any fatigue since I started. It's just I'm so comfortable right now. Okay, I am almost at work. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you have any questions, please put them there. If you are planning to buy one of these and need a little bit more advice, please feel free to drop a comment. If you are already riding motorcycles, be safe, have fun. If you are shopping for a motorcycle, I wish you happy shopping. Take care and see you next time.